Hey everyone, I'm David Byers. Welcome to my channel. I am a wood turner. I like to take wood and blend epoxy, and I'm making bowls and vases and platters and hollow forms and wine stoppers and similar items like that. But with today's video, I'm going to take a different twist. I'm going to use a woodworking theme, but I'm going to tell some dad jokes. But before I can tell dad jokes, I have to qualify myself as a dad. Yes, I do have kids. I have a son and a daughter. And yes, I do still call them kids because they will always be my kids. But they're adults now, so they don't really qualify as kids. But let's go back to when they were kids. When they were kids, they learned early on that competition is a good thing. It makes you develop character, makes you a better person. They both played high-level competitive soccer, and they were both quite good. My son was really fast and really strong on the soccer field. My daughter was just as fast, and she had great presence on the field and a lot of skill. One of the best digs that I ever got on both my daughter and son at the same time was right after one of my daughter's soccer games, and she was a force on the field. And when the game was over, we were all gathered around, and I told my daughter, I said, you know, you're just like the son that I never had. And it got both of them going at the same time. So yeah, I love my kids, and believe me, they know that they're loved also. But we do like to have fun, and we tell jokes back and forth with each other. My son came first. 4 years later, we had my daughter. 4 years after that, my wife started nesting again, so I decided to buy a boat instead. So, son, daughter, boat. Normal progression, right? Well, I would tell people from time to time that story, and I would say, you know, I like the boat the best, but eventually I sold that boat. Anyway, I have great kids. Yes, they do understand competition, but they know love also. My kids know God, they love people, they are good and they are honest, and also more importantly, they know that they are loved. But that competition never goes away. Here we are in the year 2024, and with their competitive nature, would you believe that they both have decided to get married in the same year? 2 weddings in 1 year. Seriously. So anyway, it's not just my kids. All of my family is competitive, but all of my family also knows how to laugh. One of the things I taught my kids at a very early age was, if you're going to laugh at things, and especially if you're going to laugh at other people, you need to know how to laugh at yourself first. Personally, I know that I have a lot that I can laugh at. And if you can open yourself up to laugh at yourself, then it makes it easier to laugh with other people. When my family gets together, we have big family events. And my parents and my brother and my sister, and we get together with aunts and uncles and cousins, and we invite people that aren't really family, but they want to be part of the family too, and we just have these big meals together, and we rejoice in each other's company, and we have fun. And guess what we do at the dinner table? We tell stories. And those stories over the years will grow. Yeah, we don't just make up new stories. We oftentimes will go back and we will retell the same stories again and again and again. And they do. They grow and they adapt and they evolve. Some of the stories about me, especially from back when I was a kid, they've grown so much and they've gotten to be so good. Well, heck, I wish I had actually been there when they happened. So anyway, let's transition from there and let's get into some dad jokes now. So with the dad jokes, they're going to have a woodworking twist, and I promise not to go too much against the grain. I don't want you to lose your footing so your sawhorses can still remain stable. So let's tell some dad jokes now. A termite walked into a bar. He said, "Is the bartender here?" 2 men walked into a bar. The third one ducked. My daughter lives in Colorado now. She tells me they make the furniture really well out there. They make it and it is put together nice and strong. They make a strong joint, no pun intended. Most of the work that I do today is done on the lathe. I'm turning things. I don't do a lot of flat work anymore, but I do know that if somehow I ever happen to cut off my left hand, I'd still be all right. I did prepare some carpentry jokes for this video, but I just didn't know if they would work for this channel. At one point, I considered making furniture or cabinetry, but I thought I might be too shelf-centered. There was one time in the past when I actually won a carpentry award. Yes, I nailed it. Finding unusual wood. How can you find unusual wood? Well, you know, it's not really hard to find unusual wood. You can find it walking along the beach, or you can find it walking along the lake shore, if you catch my drift. There's no such a thing as scrap wood. There's just wood that hasn't been used yet. How do you carve wood? A little bit at a time. My wife never gives me a honey-do list. Quite the opposite. On the flip side, she's the one who asked me, honey, would you please come inside and rest for a while? She thinks I may be a workaholic because I do have many a lathe night at work. She thinks I'm like an uncarved piece of wood. Yes, I have knots and I have cracks and I'm rough around the edges and I might be just a little punky. So my family tree definitely is made of wood. My mother's sister actually worked with wood. She was a carpenter aunt. I had another family member who died in a vat of varnish. It was a terrible end, but a beautiful finish. Telepathy is the ability to read other people's minds. Telekinesis is the ability to move objects with your mind. I had an uncle once who could cut a piece of wood in two just by staring at it. I saw it with my own two eyes. What is the scariest wood? Bam! Boom! Inflation is definitely something that's difficult to manage today. The cost of gas and just going out and trying to buy groceries is not an easy thing. If you believe that money grows on trees, you certainly haven't been to the lumber store to try to purchase lumber lately. I know that Christmas is going to be easy to buy gifts for me this year because all I want for Christmas is you. What do you call a beautiful piece of spalted maple that has wormholes and a really nice intricate grain, but has absolutely nothing to do? Board. If your wood glue doesn't hold, should you call it wouldn't glue? I have read that most wood turners have a bad back. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of greater than 85% of all wood turners have back issues. I have thought about starting up a lumbar support group. I had another joke that I thought would be ready, but it's still under construction. So let me finish with this statement. If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, it was probably on my neighbor's property, it was a maple or a cherry, and it had a really nice burl. So that finishes up my dad jokes. I hope it wasn't too painful for you. I hope you've enjoyed this today. Please give me a thumbs up on my channel, and I hope that you'll subscribe for future punishment just like this. Thanks again.